Insert quarter to start. The Disenfranchised Podcast, where that podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, and joining me, as always, the man who's never played a third-person shooter, it's Tucker. Hey, Tucker.
Hello, Stephen. How are you doing? That's not true. It's extremely not true.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, you knew me better than that, Stephen.
I was paraphrasing a line from the movie, sir.
Well, I quit. See you guys later.
Bye.
Send me my last check, if you would, just to my house.
Oh, you get checks from this podcast?
You guys get paid?
Feels like something I would know about.
I have my own separate Patreon. It's the Tuckers only disenfranchised Patreon, where I sell my bathwater and pictures of my feet. You know,
good for you. Make that money.
Unfortunately, our stalwart co-host Brett Wright had to take the night off due to some very intense video game play. Hopefully, he doesn't die in the game and thus die in real life. But joining us in his stead is just one of the greatest, literally one of the best. We love her, the author of the upcoming book, Millennial Nasties, and really just the internet's queen of 2000s horror. It's our very good friend, Ariel Powers-Schaub. Ariel, how are you?
I'm so great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back. Now, I do want to just peek behind the curtain. After we finished our record on Sorority Row,
yes,
we sat down and just planned your next two appearances.
Yes.
So like we're not done with Ari yet for the year. In fact, we're going to have her on once more again before, right around the time Millennial Nasties is set to come out, actually. So,
yeah, I've just set up shop. I just elbowed my way in here. Now I have squatters' rights.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Hey, I did the same thing. Like,
I was going to say,
I just never went home at one point.
She's gunning for Tucker's spot is really what it is.
That's fine. No, we need more people on this podcast.
There's room for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. We run a pretty loose ship here. We're all about having a good time. So the more the merrier. Let's just get, a panel of people with diverse interests and fields of study. But Ari, you picked this movie in particular to discuss. So what movie are we discussing today at your behest?
We are discussing 2006's Stay Alive. If you die in the game, you die for real.
Pew, pew.
Stay aloof?
Yeah.
What?
That's a good way to stay alive, is to stay aloof. Stay Alive, 2006 film, written and directed by William Brent Bell, also written by Matthew Peterman, and starring John Foster, Samara Armstrong, Frankie Muniz, Jimmi Simpson, the great Wendell Pierce, Milo Ventimiglia, Sophia Bush, Adam Goldberg, and many others. What a cast! Friends, what a picture.
What a picture.
Boy, it's something, I tell you what.
It is certainly a movie.
Legally, it is a movie I watched.
It is.
I have very complicated feelings about this movie, but because I think that it's not a very good movie, but I also think it's really, really fun, and I am very entertained by it every time I watch it.
It is fun.
I think I lack the context for the fun as a non-video game guy.
Well, see, and part of the fun is like just watching them do all this video game shit that is not a thing. Like, that's one of the things I love about this movie is no one that worked on this movie has played a video game. And it's very, very obvious. Extremely obvious. And I love watching it's like you see those posts like on Reddit where it's like, I show my girlfriend Pokemon and she names them, because she doesn't know what they're actually called.
Right.
It's kind of that kind of thing. You're like, these guys have heard of video games, so it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see what they think a video game is, and it's very funny and very entertaining. I find some of the performances in this movie very entertaining as well. That helps.
I was just going to say, I thought it was really funny that there's an entire jump scare that consists of Frankie Muniz in a backwards hat saying, hey. Well, maybe one of my favorite jump scares in cinema.
Is that what we're calling this?
Cinema? Yeah. I was just Googling this in real time because I thought Cliff Bleszinski, who worked on the God of War games, consulted on this movie. But me Googling it for 3 seconds is not telling me that that's true. So I wonder if it was a fever dream I had.
And see, I would look and see like who on the production list has any kind of like connections, but I know nothing about video games, so I would be the last person you should ask that question to.
So full disclosure, I don't know, I'm not very much of a gamer myself. But I've pretty much only dated gamers exclusively, and so like by osmosis, I know more than I would ever probably care to.
She has a type, is what we're saying.
Yeah. Apparently. Yeah. And like the games that I can do are like, so I can do all the Zelda games.
Okay.
I like those. I actively enjoy those. And the games that are more like horror movies that you make decisions through, like Until Dawn and The Quarry and that kind of stuff. Like I can do those pretty okay. Anything else, I'm like, fuck it. It's too hard.
Whereas any video game is one where I'm like, fuck it, too hard. I think the one video game I've beaten by myself in my life is the Where's Waldo game for the Sega Genesis.
Classic.
Yeah, back in early 90s, in the infancy of home video game systems. So
preteen, the
okay.
preteen years,
the awkward tween years.
Home video games have been available since the late 70s. Yeah,
Tucker, I'm gonna need you to do yourself a favor. Do me a favor right now. I'm gonna need you to just give yourself a big old wedgie right now.
Oh, come on!
This one's about video games. We got to get this stuff right.
Cool. Now the nerds gave them to the masses and said, "Join us."
I'm the guy today because Brett's not here. I got to fill in for him.
Brett's not here. We do need a video game expert, and by default now that position is you. So
for one night only.
One night only. So Ari, I gotta ask, Stay Alive.
Yeah.
Why this one?
Oh, come the fuck on. It's so fun. Are you kidding me?
Well, no, okay. I'm okay. Like, let me rephrase. Why did you select this movie for us today?
Yes. Well, you know me, and I love to live in my 2000s horror. That's my wheelhouse. That is where I set up shop. This movie is I love a movie that's a time capsule. You know, there are some movies that feel timeless and would work in any time. That is not the movie we're talking about today.
No.
It's so 2006 in the graphics, in the language, in the interactions between the friends, in the humor that it's using, the social attitude towards video games at the time, and the lack of understanding from most people. Like I would say now in 2024, people understand more about video games in general than they did in 2006. And so it just feels like it's traveling me back to a time. And even on my DVD, it has the "you wouldn't steal a car." Dun, 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 dun. It's got that to open it up. So like I'm right there immediately back in 2006 having the time of my life. I liked that
ad.
Yeah, it's a great ad. So that's why.
Like I also stand like no, I would like I'm very against piracy, so like I unironically enjoy that ad.
Okay.
I think. When most people were like, "Would you download a card?" I'm like, "No."
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I might. I mean, these days you probably could with a 3D printer, right?
Oh yeah, something like that. Sure.
God, I hadn't considered how real that became. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you're right, though. This is 100% a time capsule movie. It is locked purely within its time and place. But as a PG-13 horror movie released by the Walt Disney Corporation, Ari, how does it stack up against other Millennial Nasties?
Well, I would say perhaps controversially, I wouldn't call this movie a Millennial Nasty.
Ooh, explain.
Well, it's definitely a 2000s horror, but it does not have the bleak, hopeless nastiness or the aesthetic of what I would typically call a Millennial Nasty. And you can make an argument for it probably, and maybe if Disney hadn't made it, maybe it would be. But This movie is much more interested in like the power of friendship and overcoming the odds.
Very Disney, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't give you that in the end. You know, we get this stinger at the end where like Game Informer magazine, Stay Alive, and like Elizabeth Bathory's made out into the universe. But it really gives you this feeling of hope, it's love, it's family, but it's also got some boner jokes thrown in. So it's edgy
Boner.
Disney.
Yeah, I should point out this was released under Disney's Hollywood Pictures label, a label that is, as we were discussing prior to recording, that has essentially went defunct the next year. They basically went out of business the following year. So
that was a thing in the 2000s. A lot of like offshoot like production. I don't know if you call them studios or what you call them, but just like labels would open up, release a few movies, and then shut down.
Yeah.
There's one called Raw Feed that did like 6 movies and then disappeared forever. And so it can be really hard to find some of these. This was in a time where like straight to DVD was big too. So like it can be hard to find some stuff that came out at that time because a lot of those labels just disappeared.
Right. And it feels like their last couple of movies were all horror movies. Like they did Stay Alive in 2006, their first film in like 5 years. And then Primeval, which is apparently, according to the poster, inspired by the true story of the most prolific serial killer in history. And then a supernatural thriller called The Invisible. Yes.
Well, they were around for a long time before that, though.
I mean, they were, but this is like the tail end of their run, is what I'm saying.
Sorry. Look, I was kind of in and out of that conversation because I was doing the steps between this and Saw, and I got it. I got it.
You're showing off. You're flexing nuts.
Yeah.
No. Look, here's what happened. Is once you started talking, I was like, that's gonna go on for a minute, and it's gonna be really cool. So I think if I can,
just not even listening to what our guest is saying.
I was totally listening, like peripherally. I caught a lot of it.
Really, Mister? Are we talking about Hollywood Pictures?
Well, no, because like I was paying attention enough to know what you were talking about, but I thought you were talking about one of the other.
I did mention Raw Feed, and so
yes.
I'll allow it.
That's what my ear heard.
Shutting that down.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Hollywood Pictures started in 1990 with a future episode of this podcast, Arachnophobia.
I like that one.
I didn't realize.
Yes.
That movie scared the shit out of me as a kid.
There you go.
Who directed that, Stephen?
Arachnophobia was directed by the great Frank Marshall.
Oh, okay. That's not who I was thinking, but
Spielberg, I think Spielberg produced, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Amblin was a co-producer on this one, so yeah. Or not on this one, but on Arachnophobia.
Yes.
But yeah, scooping it back around to this film. Sorry, I just my brain just went blank.
You're doing great.
Am I? That remains to be seen. But
you're nailing it. You're doing great.
Mm-hmm. I'll fix it in post, Stephen.
I wish I could believe that. But no, we are. So yeah, Stay Alive. Now looking at the poster though, it feels like they're trying to evoke the millennial nastiness of like the Saw franchise. Like I'm looking at the poster on Wikipedia here, and it looks very Saw-esque.
Well, like with the controller, and it's
all
dirty and gross.
And the stains everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. The one with the controller definitely looks like, you know, it could fit into the Saw franchise. On the DVD that I have, it reminds me more of Scream. They're doing the slasher. All the characters are on the DVD.
Yes.
But there's a weapon of some kind. Oh no, that's a controller and some chains. This isn't what's on Wikipedia, is it?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So this one is more like invoking of the slashers, I would say. This movie is not sure where it fits. And that I love the Island of Misfit movies.
I think it's trying very hard to be whatever it needs to be to sell the movie.
Yes. Well, yeah.
And and I think that's generally a flaw in movies like this, is because you selling it as a Saw riff with video games, but then you show up to the theater and that's not what it is. It's not.
It's a lot more like Final Destination.
It is.
In that there's this you can't escape vibe.
Mm-hmm. And it's also very much what you would expect from a movie produced by McG also. So
I like McG.
Who's like McG? What?
I'm the only person who likes McG, apparently. McG is he's a music video director. Some of the films he's directed have been the 2 Charlie's Angels films from the early 2000s.
Okay.
Also Terminator Salvation. He's one of the reasons the series Supernatural exists.
Okay, that's a big hit.
Yeah.
He did the babysitter movies for Netflix as well.
Oh, I liked those.
Those were good, yeah.
And I like
fun.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I like those 2 movies too.
Yeah.
But then he also did
recently, but I had a great time with them when they came out, for sure.
He also did We Are Marshall.
Yeah, I didn't see that. What's that? I don't care.
That's the one about the football team that dies in a plane crash, I think.
Oh yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Not only am I not interested, but also I'm I don't want to be depressed.
It's got Matthew McConaughey, Matthew Fox, David Strathairn, what's his T-1000 is in there.
Robert Patrick?
I think. Robert Patrick, Ian McShane.
Oh
yeah.
I like Ian McShane.
You do like Ian McShane.
I like him a lot.
Anthony Mackie's in there. January Jones.
I like her too. She was in Last Man on Earth.
She was. Yeah. And Mad Men.
That's one of my favorite moments in the series is her introduction into the series.
Uh-huh.
Because Tandy has just devoted himself romantically to Kirsten Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
Because and nothing against Kirsten Shaw. I love her. She's fantastic. His reason as a character for getting with her is because she's the last woman on Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then soon as he's I promise, fucking January Jones shows up.
Looking super hot.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I just love that show so much.
Can January Jones look any other way?
No.
I will defend the first season as well. People are like, oh, I like the first season. I'm like,
I really like the whole show.
Yeah. They're like, Tandy sucks in the first season. I'm like, yeah, he does. And then
that's the point.
He grows as a character.
He has a toilet pool. That's very upsetting to me. I don't care for that at all. I think that's horrifying.
All of his friends that are balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friends. But what if you were the last person on Earth? Maybe I would have a toilet pool. I don't know what I would do.
Probably no.
I probably wouldn't have a toilet pool, but who knows what would happen?
Here's what we know definitively: no toilet pool.
I feel pretty confident saying that. I don't know, guys.
I mean, look, that's the problem is drainage, and so if you don't have water being delivered to the house, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, all types of things. I do this every time I come on the show. I get us off on a silly ass, totally riled up tangent.
That's what this show's about.
All right,
we do.
That's why we're here.
Okay, good.
We thrive on tangent. It's half of the pod. It's half of our runtime every week. Is just the most inane tangents on the silliest things that have nothing to do with the movie we're discussing.
Yeah, but you could consider that doing a super deep dive on a film, because not only are we talking about the film, but we're talking about everything the film makes us think of. What this actor did, and then when he did this movie with this guy, but then we're going to talk about this movie only because it had the same actor as the other guy, and it's all connected, man. It's not random.
On our 5th episode a couple weeks back, Ari, we did an extended riff on Eddie Murphy.
There you go.
Who has nothing to do with the movie Fist.
Well,
I'm honestly not even sure how we got off on the Eddie Murphy tangent. I really don't.
Stallone was supposed to be Beverly Hills Cop.
I feel like we were talking about Murphy before that, though.
Nope. Nah, dude. Well, Brett or Jimmy had to fix his mic, so we were just kind of riffing.
Oh yeah, you and I were just kind of riffing on Eddie Murphy. Well,
because that new Beverly Hills Cop's coming out next month, dude.
Wish I were excited for it.
I need to rewatch the old ones.
I do too.
Just watch the first. You don't need to watch the third one. It's probably hard to find. Just watch the first 2.
I just remember I haven't seen them in years, and I remember them playing a lot in my home growing up, and like my parents really liking them, and like I laughed a lot at them, but I haven't revisited them. You know what holds up super well?
48 Hours?
Uh,
No, actually it doesn't. I still love it. It's very
I think that
racist.
was part of our extended riff as how that movie does not hold up well.
Oh, it does for me. I'm sorry.
no,
Not
I
a
was gonna go in a different like buddy cop direction.
Please.
Rush Hour holds up
Yeah.
super well.
I believe that.
Really?
Like
I believe
way
that.
better than you think. Rush Hour 2, not as much.
I believe that.
Yeah, it gets a little off the rails, gets a little I mean,
The whole Jeremy Piven cameo feels very
they just like they lean into stuff they don't need to lean into to be edgy. The first one, like immaculate. Go rewatch Rush Hour today. That's my call to action.
I
Do
mean,
it.
Chris Tucker, both of them are not really doing a lot of movies these days.
Chris Tucker just did Air.
I mean, sure, but like, was he the lead of Air? No.
No, but see, I don't know if you know about Chris Tucker, tangent, but he requires a certain amount of money to be in a film.
Good for him.
Also, right after he did Dead Presidents, he became very deeply religious. So that also
That I
kind
did
of
know. That I did know.
So he's only really done less than 10 movies like in his entire career, maybe 10.
Since Rush Hour 3 in 2007, he has made 3 films.
Yeah, dude.
And a music video. He did Silver Linings Playbook in 2012.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He did Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk in 2016 and Air in 2023.
Then he did a Jermaine Jackson video.
Tito.
Same thing.
No.
Because they're brothers.
Tucker, no. Bad
Real
Tucker.
brothers, though. Real brother.
No, Tucker, that's a bad Tucker.
Oh, man. I feel like you put me in that corner. I feel like that was on
Fix
you.
it in post.
No, I'm leaving it. Warts and all. Look, I'm growing. I'm a growing man. I'm trying to be better every day. And if I don't recognize what I'm doing wrong, I can't get better.
I actually think you were fine there, and we just took a chance to shit on you.
Yeah, that's really what happened.
That's possible too. But it could be a chance for accountability that will make me a better person. You never know.
You don't
We'll
know. You never know. That's why you should always be a little bit sorry forever.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I will always
High
love
five.
Chris Tucker forever for The Fifth Element.
Well,
A
yes.
perfect performance.
Yes.
That's only because you haven't seen Dead Presidents, though.
I mean, look, I'm not saying the man can't have more than one perfect performance. I'm just saying Ruby Rod is a perfect performance.
No,
Oh my God.
no, I agree, but it's one thing. It's one thing that he's doing, and he's doing it really fucking well. But I'm telling you, in Dead Presidents, he's doing about 7 things perfectly in that movie. Like, that character contains fucking multitudes, Steven.
I'm going to do a Hughes Brothers marathon this year. That is in my plan. I just need to make sure I just need to make sure that I buy Menace to Society on Criterion 4K during the next
you gotta do
Criterion
that.
sale. Yeah.
That's right.
Because I got to start there. I got to start with Menace to Society. Because I have standards and integrity and other shit. So, yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you watch Dead Presidents, let me know, because I'd like to watch it with you, and maybe we could do some sort of Patreon thing on it, or at least talk about it extensively on What Are We Watching.
Yes.
I would love to talk about that movie with you, Stephen. That's all I'm saying.
Right on. No, I'm excited to watch it. You've talked it up enough. I question whether or not it can live up to the hype, but yeah.
Oh, it's gonna exceed it. I can't hype it up enough. Is the
Fair
thing.
enough.
I can't.
Fair enough. Hey, let's stay alive, everybody.
I guess.
That's why we're here. So, not a millennial nasty. Even if the poster is definitely trying to ape that aesthetic, the movie is definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Which I respect. So I guess I won't ask you to do a 6 degrees of separation for this one because it's not a millennial nasty. It doesn't really count.
Yeah, but I think Tucker wants to show off.
Tucker really, I think, does.
No, look, here was my thing. Before I mentioned it, what I wanted to do was I was going to find a time to put it in the chat and then like give it, because look, if you hadn't been talking and if you had been IMDbing like I was, you would have gotten it faster than me, is all I'm saying.
Well, that's very kind of you, but I was like trying to, while we were doing the chit chat before we hit record, I was trying to find it and I didn't find it. And so I'm a big enough woman to say, hey man, you found it and I didn't.
I lucked into it though. I came across a really easy one. Like,
but you got to tell me, because now I'm dying to know.
Yes,
Okay,
I mean, just
okay,
out
ready?
with it, man.
Okay, so Jimmi Simpson's in this movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We all agree upon that, right?
I think we can concur with that statement.
Let the
Yes.
record show.
And Jimmi Simpson has been in more than a few things with Glenn Howerton. One film being Fool's Gold, that terrible movie Charlie Day put out last year.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Are you going to connect this back to The Strangers, and then back to Saw through there? No. Okay.
No, I don't need to.
Ooh, okay.
Because Glenn Howerton.
Fuck me, right?
Glenn Howerton was in Blackberry with Carrie Elways. Who?
Neat.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but he's in the first Saw movie.
Blackberry is that it's one of those movies that
Blackberry?
Hollywood's like obsessed with making now about the like biopics, but about brands, like products.
Oh,
it's really good though. It's really good, and you all should
about
watch it. 'Cause it's
Blackberry,
really
like
the device.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had one. It was the first cool thing I ever had.
I had a generic Palm Pilot. That's what I had.
Ooh, those
That's
were
pretty
fun.
cool. I never got to have a beeper. I wanted a beeper.
Oh, I had a pager. Those are fun.
Yeah, see, you were cool. I wasn't.
Well, I don't know about that. I was cool, but
well, there you go. Too bad you're not anymore. Sad.
That's true.
No,
yeah.
I'm sorry I said that.
Those days are over. Those days are over.
No, I'm impressed that you found that connection. Good job.
Yeah. Well. Oh, but hey, you guys, Blackberry though, I recommend it to everybody, and you can watch it as a film that's about 2 hours long, or you can watch it as a mini series that is three 45-minute episodes that has added stuff because it's more serialized.
Where's that at?
I think Peacock is who has both of those, I believe. Peacock or Paramount Plus, one of the two. But I've watched both of them, and it's either one. It just depends on if you want to sit and watch 3 episodes of a TV show over a certain amount of time, or if you want to watch a movie. It's good though. I can't believe that.
I definitely want. It's been on my list to see since it came out. So yeah, I'm totally in for it.
Like, I knew just based on what I heard about. I'm sorry, Hulu. Hulu is what has the show and the movie.
Oh.
I was excited about it because I like Glenn Howerton, I like Jay Baruchel, and a lot of the other people that are in that movie, and so I was excited about it. Plus, I'd heard a lot of good things about it, but it really, really exceeded my expectations. I was way more into it than I thought I would be.
Right on.
Yeah,
I dig it. Michael Ironside's in it? Hell yeah.
Yeah, he showed up, and that was the week that I watched it. Like the week that we did, I think, Total Recall. And so he was just showing up everywhere, and he showed up in something else that week that I was watching. It was a Michael Ironside week. Yeah,
we love Michael Ironside. We stand a legend.
He's great.
He's the best.
Absolutely.
He's not, however, in Stay Alive.
And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it here on the Disenfranchised Pod, and we'll see.
I like that.
I don't know. It might not be. So I don't think Stay Alive is a Millennial Nasty, but I think it'll have a place in my second book.
Oh.
And that is all I'll say for now.
You heard it here first, listeners. Disenfranchised and disenfranchites. This is breaking news.
What a
It's not. There's not a book deal yet.
Not yet.
It's an idea. It's an outline. It's a dream. Stay Alive is in there. So I don't know. Maybe you should stay alive to find out what happens with that or something.
Look, we're all doing our best.
Jesus Christ.
And also in September, buy Ari's book. And then, like, if she sells a whole bunch of them, then publishing company would be like, please, please, please write another one.
True.
She'd be like, actually, I got you.
Yeah, true.
10 steps
so that's
ahead.
all I'll say for now. I do think Stay Alive has a home in a different micro genre.
All right.
Yes.
Right on. But not one that you're willing to christen at this
No,
moment.
no. That would be
Okay.
bad luck.
Fair.
Gone
No,
far enough.
that's fair.
Mhm.
I mean, we're happy to be sitting with the woman that gave us Millennial Nasties. So,
Yeah.
but
So we'll
there's
see.
more to come, is what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
hearing. And
Oh, yeah.
and literally, we get the scoop, a thing we have never gotten before.
I've never said that anywhere else yet, so there you go.
Fuck yeah,
Heard it
love
here
that
first.
for us.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, let's start talking
fucking do it.
about this movie.
Fucking do it.
This is a movie that we all watched, and it is a movie that has a plot. And usually, when that happens, we try to describe that plot in 60 seconds or less. And that is what we call the plot in 60 seconds. It is the part of the show where we, as I just said, describe the plot in 60 seconds or less. Usually, that is done at the behest of the Coin of Justice, the D6 of Destiny, or the Canadian Quarter of Indifference. But since we have a guest who is so gracious, she has elected, and volunteered to do the plot for this film in 60 seconds or less. Ari, I have got 60 seconds on the clock.
You guys know this makes me so nervous.
Here's the thing. I mean, 60 seconds is just a benchmark. We'll
I
let you
know,
keep going.
But you know how I am. Okay.
It's fine.
I'm ready though.
I will give you the 30 and 10 second warnings, and your time will start whenever you do.
Okay, let's give it a 3, 2, 1. It's 2006, and Hollywood producers just learned the term beta testing, and they want to know, how do you do, fellow kids? After Loomis is killed horribly playing a quote-unquote virgin video game called Stay Alive, his friend group decides to boot it up and get sucked in to honor his memory. You must begin the game with a prayer to Elizabeth Bathory, who is not a Hungarian countess from the 16th century, but just some jerk who abused girls in a Louisiana plantation. But she's a woman in STEM, and we love her for that. Anyway, she kills people who play her game, and Hutch and the gang have to try and stop her. But will they stay alive? No, some of them die. But do they stop her? No, they don't. And her game makes it all with Game Informer magazine.
We've got so much time left. See? You didn't even need the full 60 seconds. You fucking
I know, but I
killed it.
get so nervous and sweaty, and then I don't say words correctly. So whatever. It's fine. You guys get the gist. Elizabeth Bathory, woman in STEM, coding queen.
First of all, I read your Letterboxd review as I was sitting down to pull up all my systems, and the way that I cackled, Ari, when I read your woman in STEM, God, what a brava! Can I just say, brava?
I mean, she had to learn to code from the grave. Talk about going back to school later in life. So late in life, she was dead.
Right.
Yeah.
That's late.
The latest.
Literally late from life, really.
Yeah.
The latest in life you can possibly get.
Right.
Yeah.
God.
So there you
Also,
go.
this
so
is called, when Steven gives the description of the plot in 60 seconds, he always says 60 seconds or less. So,
yeah,
you came in a little early, but it's fine, I think.
In the immortal words of Akon, still counts.
Is that Akon who says that?
In the Lonely Island song, I Just Had Sex? Yeah.
Yeah. That's Akon? Okay.
That's Akon, yeah.
I thought it was T-Pain, but that must be...
T-Pain's I'm on a Boat.
I'm on a boat, yeah. You're right.
You guys, this seems like a good time to bring up the Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast. You guys been listening to that?
I have not.
No.
I barely have time to
really,
listen to
really
podcasts
good.
anymore, I'm
It's
afraid.
really, 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 really good. Especially if you are a fan of or were someone who experienced a lot of those digital shorts when they were airing,
Right.
whether it was on YouTube or actually watching SNL. It's a really fascinating deep dive. They go every episode that they had a digital short in. They talk about the digital short, and then they talk about the episode in general. And they've gotten to the end of the first season, and now they're going to do an episode on Hot Rod, which is a fantastic film.
Future episode of this podcast, Hot Rod.
Really? When? Tomorrow? Can we do it? Hey, I noticed there was some holes in the schedule in a couple months. Can we do it then?
We have it scheduled already.
When?
I will tell you this. It will be after Ari's next appearance.
You guys, pools are great for holding water. I'm just saying. Ooh, I'm so
have never
excited.
seen Hot Rod.
I'm excited. Oh, I'm
Have
so
never
excited
seen
for
it.
you. Ian McShane in that one. He's
Okay.
in that one, yeah.
We
Our boy
we
Ian
have a
McShane.
returning guest for that episode.
And Sissy Spacek as well.
Carrie herself.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Not to be confused with the Rage Carrie 2.
Which is an incredible film.
Girl, you know it.
I feel like we're playing pretty fast and loose with the word incredible here, but you know.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Listen,
Oh, it's so
we don't have time.
so before its time, that movie, let me say.
I like your Rage Carrie 2 poster, Tucker.
Just got that a couple weeks ago.
He
actually.
did.
Very
That's
nice. I do
that's a
like
new
it.
addition.
That's
He's
very
got two previous episodes up there. An episode of Unenfranchised with the Rage Carrie 2 and an episode of the main feed with Idle Hands. The only episode I was not on.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's about sending a message.
Are we going to do an episode on Empire Records?
I don't know. You got to put it on straight up?
I mean, like... No, I mean, it was one of those flash the pan teen movies. Even if it made a lot of money, I couldn't see a sequel being made. It's like I want to fudge the rules and include it on a regular main feed episode, but I just don't think I could.
No.
It's not obscure enough or weird enough to be on straight up. Damn. Ari, you were saying?
Can I tell you my Empire Records story real fast?
I
wish
would
you
love
would.
that.
I
Okay.
can't wait till you do.
Okay. So I grew up in a pretty small town where we all kind of knew each other, like from preschool to through 12th grade, pretty much. And a new girl moved in about 10th grade, and she was super cool. And we were all hanging out. And she was from a different state, and she knew a lot of different stuff from us, different movies and things. And so she was like, oh my God, you guys haven't seen Empire Records. You've got to watch Empire Records. It's the best. I always watch it with my friends back home, blah, blah, blah. And so we were like, okay, this is cool. But she was also like, in many ways, a lot more innocent and sheltered than the friend group I was in. And this will become clear soon. So in the scene in Empire Records where Liv Tyler is undressing for Rex Manning, first she takes off her shirt, red bra. Great. Love it. Planned for her day.
Yep.
Love that. But then she takes off her skirt, and it's just white underwear.
Straight up
It's
granny
not even-
panties for sure.
It's not even a matching color. Like, I get it. Under a skirt, you got to wear full coverage underwear. I get that. But it wasn't even red. It was just white. And so there was the girl who was showing us the movie and like really excited to like show us this thing that she loved. And then all of us trash heap goblins from the fucking trash.
Fucking hood rats.
And when she took her skirt off, we all went, ah, like disappointed in Liv Tyler. And we had to literally pause the movie to explain to this new girl, like, she didn't match her bra to her panties. This is fucked up. Like, why do you think she's gonna? And she had like never thought of this before. So that's how I know I'm trash. And that is the first episode of my pod. How do you know you're trash?
How do you know you're trash? Episode 1, Empire Records.
Yeah.
Subtitle: The Day I Knew.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway.
I mean, it feels like now we have to do an episode on Empire Records just so we can have Ari back to tell that story on it.
It could be like a
So-
Patreon special or
There you
I don't
go.
know.
Yeah.
Some kind of something else. I
Listeners,
don't know.
if you want an Empire Records episode, you're going to have to demand it because it's not going to happen otherwise. So write in the comments down below.
Yep.
Do Empire Records. It's Rex Manning Day. Make it happen.
And of course, the place to find the comments are on our Patreon, patreon.com/disenfranchised. If you sign up at the free level, you too can join in the conversation.
It's free, you chuckle fucks.
It's
Sign up.
Free, you chuckle fucks.
And we respond.
Can
I
we
They
do?
respond to every comment.
That's
Is there a
true.
comment I haven't responded to? I don't think there
so.
is. No.
Test Tucker. Leave 100 comments.
Sure.
See if he can respond to all of them.
And you know what? He'll try, and he'll probably
What's up?
succeed.
Yeah, see what's up.
I mean, Ari's there,
Yeah, here I am.
so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you
Okay.
want some bonus content, you just throw us $5 and we'll give you.
Yeah.
You can listen to that Rage Carrie 2 episode that we've got back behind that
The
paywall.
first of many, yeah.
Apparently, that's a thing we're doing now.
Rage Carrie 2 comes once a year like Christmas.
It's an annual episode, the most wonderful time of the year, the time we talk about the Rage Carrie 2.
It's my favorite time of the year.
I can't even get through that with a straight face. Yeah. So I don't know anything about the PlayStation 2, but when this movie started, I was like cringing because of how terrible the graphics looked, and then I realized, oh no, wait, this is supposed to be bad video game graphics. This is like early,
They
like mid 2000s video game graphics.
they were pretty good for 2006, weren't they?
Yeah, I would say that they were more next gen, because in 2006 you had things like you had the original Xbox, you had the PlayStation 2, and you had the you had the Dreamcast technically. But you had the GameCube as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we wouldn't get graphics that looked like the ones in the film until the next generation with like the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3,
Mm-hmm.
and to a much lesser extent the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, this looks like it kind of looked a little Final Fantasy movie to me. Future episode of this
Oh,
podcast, Final
golly.
Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
I wish that movie didn't look so good because it's so fucking boring. Like nothing happens in that movie, but it's so beautiful. Like especially at the time, like to see CGI like that. This is at a much lower level than that, Stephen, I would say.
Okay, okay, I trust you
Yeah.
implicitly because I
Yeah.
don't have the foundation of knowledge for this shit.
Well,
As you
because
well know.
That Final Fantasy movie looked good as hell, and it came out in like 2002, 2001 ish. Yeah.
2001.
So
Yeah, that is it's look, it's a future episode of this podcast. It's coming up. We're gonna cover it at some point.
that's cool. I like to talk about how pretty it looks. I like
And
the pretty
nothing
lights.
else. I don't know anything about Final Fantasy either, so that'll be fun.
There's how much time do you have?
You're coming back for that episode then? Ari?
No, thank you. Surely there is someone more knowledgeable you could get for that than myself.
With Final Fantasy, it's not about the story being convoluted or the stories
Right.
not being related. Final Fantasy is more of just a world that a whole bunch of
Mhm.
different stories take place in. Sometimes they relate to each other, sometimes they don't, but they all happen in the same world. Sometimes it's the same characters, sometimes it's not. Yeah,
Final Fantasy VI has a scary clown. That's
that's
kind of
true.
fun.
Yeah,
We do like a
everybody
scary
loves that.
clown on this podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, the reason I mentioned how kind of discombobulated the whole continuity of the series is because the movie has nothing to do with any of the games. Nothing at all.
Oh, gotcha.
And it doesn't even take place in the same time period as most of the games that came before the film. It takes place way in the future. It was very weird when that movie came out. It was like, this doesn't look like Final Fantasy at all. There's motorcycles? What's happening? I don't understand.
By Final Fantasy by way of Akira, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man,
Wowzers.
what a wild thing the movies are. Stay Alive, Tucker. What, if any, video game touch point is there for the Stay Alive video game within a film?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer because the way they present it, it could be interpreted as something that is realistic, but they fumble it. Like, for example, so when everybody comes over to Homeboy's house to play the game, except for Adam Goldberg, who's at his office, they have one display, monitor or TV, whatever they're using. They have one.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
They are all holding a controller.
Mm-hmm.
They are all playing, but they're all seeing the same thing. And it's cinematic. It's not, sometimes it's a point of view, sometimes the camera moves around. It's not how video games work. Even now, you would probably need a split screen, or you'd need to be like connected over the internet so that you'd have two instances of the game going on. And like, you can't, the cameras in video games don't work that way. You have to focus on something,
Right.
you know? So there's some stuff that kind of is similar to the way they present it. Is sometimes it's in first person, sometimes it's in third person. So there are some stuff like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, of course, things that came out around, well, before that, but were popular at the time. That this definitely takes a lot of influence from thematically and tonally as far as the game goes. But there was something, actually, I read something that the No, that was something else. I just got confused with another movie that I watched this week that I did kind of a deep dive on after it. So strike that. Tucker, edit that out. Edit that out. Please. Future
you
me.
can you can think of Stay Alive as a movie about the fear of video games. And it is. And like video games have had their time in the sun to be blamed for violence, right? So has music, so has movies, so have books. Like all media can get blamed for bad things happening, and there's a good discussion to be had about that. But Stay Alive isn't so much a fear of video games as it is a fear of the internet, because it's a video game that relies on you connecting to people who aren't there, which is a scary 2006 internet thing.
Right.
And also this idea of like, if you're using the internet, people can get into your stuff. You're not safe. You're opening. It's almost like using a Ouija board. You open a portal to demons or whatever. It's like, oh, if you hop on a multiplayer game, now any countess can get into your house and kill you.
Damn those countesses.
And the 2000s were really, there was a lot of like fear of the internet movies that were happening at this time. Just kind of like off the top of my head, there was Pulse, which is excellent, from
Future episode of
2001.
this podcast, Pulse.
Yeah.
Oh, can I please?
I'd say put Ari down for that one, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sounds like
I mean,
it's gonna happen.
listen, not to invite myself, but I'm going to invite myself.
Ari,
Look, if you've got the time, you're
Ari.
always welcome.
Anytime. Seriously, anytime.
So we got pulsefear.com.
Oh, I remember fear.com.
With Jeffrey Combs and fucking Stephen Dorff.
Could also be called fear.com.com, because that's the website. .com for murder is another one. I feel like I'm forgetting hundreds, but there were so many early 2000s, like the internet's in our home, our kids are on the internet. What's bad that they could find? And Stay Alive does that through a video game, but it feels more like an internet fear to me.
Well, it's very of the time too, because like the ability of a regular standard person to play a video game with someone online, something like a console game or like a real game instead of just like a flash game or something, was pretty new. It was only like 2 years since Xbox Live was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you've been able to do it on computers before that, but I'm talking about like mainstream, like everybody was playing games online now, like on their consoles. And that had only been around for a couple years. So this movie is kind of right where it needs to be. The perfect time and the perfect place.
Yes, I think it's quite the time capsule. And it's funny, we were joking earlier, like, or maybe not joking, that nobody who ever worked on a video game worked on this movie. And there are definitely shades of that. Like, they all have headsets on when they're in the same room. That seems unnecessary. You know,
they're trying to communicate with Adam Goldberg.
Well, if they have to talk to Adam Goldberg, yeah, that would be a thing. But
I suppose, but do they all need one?
I mean, you can just get one big podcast mic in the middle of the room and...
Well, now technically, if they had the Xbox Connect,
right,
they could have done that because it has a mic, and
that's a few years later yet, right?
But I'm saying that's a whole bunch of years later. That's like 6-7 years later.
Okay, because that's Paranormal Activity 4.
Oh yeah,
so what's that? 2013
Connect in that one?
Yeah, man, you haven't seen it.
Look, I stopped at the one that was after the third one, the spin-off one. What was that one called?
Paranormal Activity 4 is 2012.
Okay.
So the fifth one is the marked ones. So
That's
if you
one I
watched... Okay, so did you watch 4 with the Xbox Connect?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the last main, like the last main numbered entry that I watched, I think was 3. And I was like, they're kind of stretching it too thin for me. And so, but then when marked ones came out, I got it for free on digital code. So I watched it. And I liked it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Listen to our Pod and the Pendulum franchise breakdown on Paranormal Activity.
Definitely do. It's very, very good.
I'm definitely going to listen to the marked ones episode for sure.
You should, yeah.
Ari, I have bad news.
Oh no.
The 2006 film Pulse did get 2 sequels. However, the 2001 Japanese film
That's what I want anyway.
did not. Okay.
I've not
Okay.
seen the
Wait,
remake.
the American Pulse got 2 sequels. You haven't seen?
Yes,
American
Pulse 2 Afterlife and Pulse 3, both released in 2008, direct
Yeah, I
to
don't like that.
DVD.
Probably
Both
should have
released
back to
into. Okay, well, I guess
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch those because they
Yep.
sound like exactly my bullshit.
back. Probably.
Writing on my little post-it here.
They're probably
Pulse.
on Tubi or free to stream on like
Bullshit.
Vudu or Canopy or something. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love Canopy. Shout out to local libraries.
Fucking A. Canopy rules. Also Hoopla. Shout out to Hoopla as well.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, at least in the States for sure, a lot of your local libraries have a free streaming service you can access with your library card. It's called Canopy with a K. And if you have a library card, you can use that to like watch movies in your home for free. So like don't sleep on the library, guys. I'm always telling you this.
Yes. Seriously. And you know what? The movie that Tucker and I were talking about earlier, Dead Presidents, is on Hoopla. So
There you go.
get it.
It's also on my Vudu if you're one of the 35 people who have access to that.
Yeah, I am. And I do.
Well, some of the
And
people that are
thank you.
listening do as well, so I'm just letting them know.
Maybe we should make that a separate Patreon tier where you like pay us like
You have
$50 a
access
month,
to my Vudu.
and Tucker gives you access to his
Oh
Vudu.
man,
I
can I
think
get in
that's-
on that? I bet I have different movies than Tucker on my Voodoo.
That's illegal. Yo, hey, they used to have that thing where you could share your library with somebody.
No, I
They
don't
do that
remember.
anymore. Well,
but
Voodoo
I
used
believe
to have
you.
this thing where you could have like 3 friends that you share your library with, and they could watch your movies and you could watch all of theirs.
Man, why
And
do
it
they
was
gotta
the
take
raddest
everything
shit
good
ever.
away?
All
I
the
don't
good
know,
shit,
dude, but it
man.
was so cool.
Man,
I wish
tell
I were
you
still
what.
around because I'm trying to see what's in your Voodoo library.
Yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can work that out.
We'll see what happens. See how it goes.
I love this for us. We're just we're planning all sorts of fun stuff on the Disenfranchised podcast. Look, why do more people not listen to this podcast? It's the best. We're great and awesome. So yeah, Elizabeth Bathory, actual person, except not this person.
Right. It's like they took elements of a historical figure to go in this story. So she was a Hungarian countess.
Right.
It's like they forgot to change her name, is what I was gonna
Right.
say. It's like they based it on somebody and they were like,
Control
wait, no,
F.
we gotta change all this stuff, but oh shit, we forgot to change her name.
I was gonna say it feels like they combined aspects of her and then another like serial killer like in Louisiana who was like the main focus of like one of the seasons of American Horror Story.
This is exactly what I was going to say, Stephen.
Okay.
You and I had the same brainwave, like Madame Lalaurie
Yes.
and Elizabeth Bathory. They just sort of smashed those two together because Elizabeth Bathory, she supposedly did bathe in like blood of younger women to like stay young, which is very LA right now.
To help her stay alive.
Stay alive. And Madame Lalaurie was in Louisiana. And so, yeah, they just kind of like smashed them together. And there's this weird, like, okay, so I have to know. I have the director's cut. Do you guys know if you watched the director's cut or the theatrical cut?
I am positive I watched the theatrical cut. Whichever the one that I was rentable on YouTube is the one I watched. I don't think it was the director's cut.
It would have let you know.
Yeah,
You watched the theatrical cut. We watched the theatrical cut, and I have actually never seen. And I've seen this film, which if we hadn't skipped the "What's your history with this movie" part, you would have known that I've seen this film a bunch of times. Like,
I mean, we could always go
probably
back to it.
and we kind of hit it a little bit. Anyway, but what I was saying though is I've seen this movie probably 8 times since it came out because I'm not in love with it. But damn, every time I think about it, I'm like, ooh, I should probably watch that because it's fun. Like it's real bad, but like in kind of the best way. And there's actually some stuff that's really good too. That's what kind of makes it very entertaining. Is it's real bad, but in a good way. But also sometimes it's real good in a good way as well. Kind of like the Carrie remake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a plot point in the director's cut that really it doesn't make the story different. It's not like an Escape Room 2 situation, but it's like they add a plot point in the director's cut where the game developer is living in the old plantation. Have you ever seen this version, Tucker?
Oh no, I want to though. Every time I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I wish I was watching the director's cut because I always read about like this extra subplot with the extra character.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that wasn't in it because I think I've maybe only seen this version, or I don't remember seeing it, the other version. But I guess in the theatrical cut, it's just sort of like Elizabeth Bathory learns to code, but like in the director's cut, she like influences a game developer to like do this for her, and he like lives in her house and they go there.
I would be interested to see that for sure.
Yeah.
That's something,
You
especially
should seek it out.
that's what I want to see.
Bathory is played by Alice Kriege, no?
No, that is, she does not play
LOL,
Elizabeth
no.
Bathory. She plays, so they go to like a witchy shop to get more information.
Oh, okay.
And Alice Krieg is playing like a not like a harbinger, but like a knowledgeable witchy person. And she's trying to sound like maybe sort of French or like Cajun, but she basically just doesn't pronounce her R's. So she's saying like Elizabeth Bathory
Oh no.
and like all this different stuff where she's just sort of like Wing over her R's, and it's a very odd choice.
That is a choice.
So that's one reason to buy the DVD.
Sounds like, God, that sounds amazing.
I just did.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Do you want to know something else about the DVD?
Do I?
What's that?
So I think we talked about this before, maybe not, maybe as a fever dream, but I love a good DVD menu, right? Like you guys, DVD menus, they just hit different back in the day. This one has a game.
You wake up and it's still going?
Yes, that is good shit.
Have done that.
So when you pop this DVD in, there's a game you can play where you select one of the characters, like one of the characters from the movie, clothing, and a weapon. And if you select the right combination, it takes you to a special features menu. But if you select the wrong combination, you get like a death scene.
Yo, I love those little the little codes they'd put in DVDs. They did it all the time. The
Yes.
Memento DVD. If you do a
Yes.
certain button press,
I'm
like,
not familiar.
well, on the Memento DVD, the first one that came out, that it looks like a patient file and it's like a 2-disc thing.
I
On the
used to have
second
that one.
disc,
I'm so mad I
if
don't
you
anymore.
put in a certain code, like left, right, up, down, A, B, A, B, start, or whatever,
Mhm.
you can watch the movie in order, like recut in
Whoa.
order. It's
Chronologically.
like from the beginning to the end instead of the end to the
Yeah.
beginning, like it is in the film spoilers.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and
would
there
be
was all
cool.
kinds of shit like that. I remember that on all kinds of DVDs where you would
Final
get.
Destination 3 had a death clock.
Yes, I do remember that one too, man.
I
Yes.
love a DVD menu.
This is why we are physical media apologists on this podcast.
We
Like,
we don't apologize for it. We celebrate it.
No, I mean, but we like
Don't hate,
defenders.
celebrate.
No, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
dude. Defenders.
Yeah, but I like to think of it more as like we're just over
Like-
here being
like
like, oh,
the-
you don't
the
like physical
old
media,
school-
whatever.
original Greek definition.
Oh, but
of-
you're saying more like we're missionaries, like we're going out and spreading the gospel of DVD.
I mean, no, we're not evangelists.
I
We're
am.
Well, all
Okay,
right.
well, there you go. I don't apologize for shit, especially not DVD, Steven. So I'm celebrating over here.
No,
So
the
I think you
original-
guys
apologize
are
sometimes.
agreeing.
I'm sorry.
I think you guys are agreeing, and I think it's
sorry.
okay.
We are.
I'm sorry that I said that I don't apologize. I apologize.
I'm just being my minor was in Greek, so I'm being a Greek nerd
That's
right
neat.
now. Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Feeding us
Yeah.
a bunch of Greek salad. Is that what you're doing, Steven?
No, it was.
Fuck, I love Greek salad.
I mean, who doesn't? Greek food in general is amazing.
Oh yeah, man.
I was I was a theology major in college, so I studied New Testament Greek as a minor. Picked up a minor in New Testament Greek, so
Flex.
yeah, if I if I could
Is it
use
though?
any of it, maybe, but no.
More like a party trick, really, than a
It
flex.
really, yeah, that's more true. Like my actual stupid human party trick.
I'm still impressed, but
Which is what?
my
Right,
actual
that's
stupid
good.
human party trick. Should I say
Oh,
it
yeah?
off the? Should I say
Yeah.
it?
No,
on the main
because I can
feed?
stump you. I can stump you right now. I can stump you right now.
I mean, is it the one you
Wait,
used to stump me
what are you
last time?
talking about?
No.
I
What's
have
happening?
I have an uncanny knack. I know, I would say most. I will not say all, but I will say I know the lyrics to most TV theme songs of shows released between, say, when I was born and even before to like the year 2000.
Okay.
Like TV show theme songs
American
with,
TV shows?
yes, with,
Okay.
and the theme songs with lyrics.
Right.
But yeah, I will say I know most. Not
He
all.
is really good at it. It's a fun thing to do.
It is. And I think he has managed to stump me once before.
What was the
And-
stumper?
What was it?
I don't
Steven, do you
remember. I don't.
I was
But-
gonna stump you with Roundhouse this time.
Oh yeah, a show I've never watched. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it counts.
it does.
What about 227?
I know. Did 227 have lyrics?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, well, then yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I know 227. I just don't know
Look,
the
look,
song. For
I'm not
227.
trying to embarrass you, Steven. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it
because-
just seems really unimpressive to name two shows I don't know the words to.
Okay, here's what I want. This will be just because not only do I want to redeem myself and make you look better, but also I want to hear you sing this. Steven, I wonder if you know the facts of life. What you know about? Can you? Give us a
I know-
little
You
bit of
take
that?
the good, you take the bad, you take
Take
the
them
both.
There
There.
you have the facts of life. The facts of life. There's a time you gotta go and show you're grown, and now you know about the facts of life. The facts of life. When the world never sees you've been living up to your dreams, and suddenly you're finding out the facts of life are all about you. All about you. All about you. It takes a lot to get them right. When you're learning the facts of life,
Yes.
learning
Yes.
the facts of life,
Yes.
learning the facts of life.
Bravo.
Remix.
Bravo.
That was that was great.
Yeah, that's
Good job,
again,
buddy.
it's a silly thing that I know because as a kid I was obsessed with TV theme songs, and so I
There you
listened to and learned a lot of them.
It's so much fun.
It is. Whenever I go on our friend's podcast, High on Cartoons, I invariably will end up doing at least one Disney afternoon song, because they're doing DuckTales, the 2017 reboot.
Oh, woohoo.
Woohoo. And I'll be on a couple episodes in a row. Hope actually texted me earlier this morning, was like, "Hey, you want to do 2 episodes in a row?" I'm like, "Yes." So I'm going to do the Gizmo Duck episode and the Darkwing Duck episode. So back to back.
You about to get dangerous, Steven.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know it. And speaking of getting dangerous, I hear that if you die in the video game Stay Alive, you die in real life. What's that
No,
about?
It's
Never been done
It's
before
sort of true.
in cinematic history, BT dubs. Never.
right. And it needed
Before
to
or
be done.
since?
No.
Since no, I think probably not.
I mean, this feels like very kind of a once you do it, it's done, and you really can't revisit it without people
No.
going,
Well,
"Haven't we
I
done
was-
this already?"
I was being silly because it had been done. Like there was that X-Files episode and an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark and like
Sure, but not a film,
that's
right?
probably not. Maybe not. I'm going to say probably not. With an asterisk, results may vary after research.
I've never seen Tron. Is that how Tron works? If you die in Tron, you die in real life?
I don't think anybody dies in Tron.
Okay.
But if they did,
But if they
Yeah.
did, because I mean, we've done video game movies before. Like I think our very first episode, we do a deep dive on like video game movies pre 1993, and there aren't a lot of them. I
Well,
think there
and-
is like a made for TV video game movie at one point that's a horror movie that might do something similar to that, but I can't speak because I've never seen it.
well, and I'm certainly not trying to say nay or anything or be a naysayer, but I feel like there was something. Maybe it wasn't a video game though. Like if you maybe you go into a movie or a TV show or something. That's definitely something I'd seen. I feel like before
stay
that.
tuned.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of movies
That's
that
the one
start with
with
the
John
word
Ritter.
"stay," yes.
John Ritter in that one. I like that one. And
But then also Pleasantville.
The Devil's played by Jeffrey. We don't put him in movies anymore for certain reasons.
Jones.
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
Very,
Beetlejuice's
very,
Jeffrey Jones.
very specific. There's a reason his character dies in the upcoming
He
sequel.
did. He did.
He very conveniently did.
Yeah, dudes. Word. Stay tuned. That's a good one. You can get the soundtrack on vinyl now. I don't know why, but I keep seeing ads for it. I'm like, why, who wants that? Who cares? Probably
Danny
somebody,
Elfman fans, I guess. Yeah. Here's the thing. Tim Burton, I feel like there's a cult of personality around Tim Burton.
Yeah.
But
people
Tim
just
Burton
love
didn't
him
do
to
Stay
love him.
Tuned.
No. You can get the Stay Tuned soundtrack on vinyl?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you were talking Beetlejuice still.
No, dude.
Oh.
I'd get that soundtrack.
Yeah, that soundtrack makes sense.
But not on vinyl. I'd get it on CD so I could skip around because I don't like all the tracks.
Fair.
So.
That's fair. I mean, you could just always, lift the arm and like lower it in the spot you want.
Oh, Steven. What are you trying to do, man? Come on.
Show my ignorance, apparently.
I'm just saying the further into the center of the record you get, the more difficult it is to do that. The more no matter what kind of weight you have on it or any skip stuff going on there, like you get like past half, you're gonna have a bad time trying to do that. It's gonna jump around everywhere.
Fair enough.
Can be kind of a flex if you can do it, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So this movie populated almost entirely by TV actors, is what I'm seeing here.
I mean, Adam Goldberg was a film actor. I feel like
I feel like he's your one. Yeah. But it's very much that early 2000s thing, or that 2000s horror thing in particular, where we take a bunch of like TV actors that are about to pop and we throw them in our movie. That way all the kids that are fans of the WB shows that they tend to be on will come to our movie and watch it. I mean, they did that with Scream. They did that with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like that was a very from the late 90s on, that's kind of been a very popular trope. Even later in the decade when we get to like the Friday the 13th and My Bloody Valentine remakes, like you get the kids from Supernatural in there and
get my Winchester boys.
Get your little Winchester boys. It's the second time we brought up Supernatural in this episode. That's wild. But yeah, you have John Foster from the short-lived show Life as We Know It, younger brother of Ben Foster. Frankie Muniz, of course, from Malcolm in the Middle. Samara Armstrong from the OC, just kind of finishing up her run on the OC at the time. Mila Ventimiglia, who is like getting ready to do Heroes.
Yeah.
Even Wendell Pierce has done like at least 3 seasons of The Wire up to this point. So like, like, a lot of TV actors in this movie.
He didn't really have to, stray far from what he was already doing there in this film.
No, not at all.
He pretty much played the same character, I feel like.
I was as soon as he showed up, I'm like, it's Bunk Moreland. And he pretty much plays Bunk Moreland in this movie.
So I watched The Wire much later than it aired. So mine was the opposite. I was like, oh, it's the cop from Stay Alive. It's the same guy. The same fucking guy. I love that he's in this.
I take it you saw this movie in theaters? Then, Tucker?
I did not see it in theaters, but I did rent it pretty close to when it came out on DVD. I rented it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember how the trailer, Frankie Muniz saying, if you die in the game, you die for real. That became such a meme for a while.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even say it in the movie, at least not in the version I have.
No.
He doesn't even say it. It's like he's doing this little rant later where he's like, going off about how things are going and what they have to do. And you can feel it coming. You could feel that you're waiting for it, but they cut it out of the movie for some reason. I don't know why.
And he feels like the kind of the Jamie Kennedy in Scream kind of character. Like he's the guy who knows all about video games. He feels like he's going to be much more of like a font of information for this movie. And the movie never really delivers on that. Like, there's not much in this movie that distinguishes his character from that of, say, the Jimmi Simpson character, honestly.
This is a weird band of friends. Like,
it is.
So you've got Spooky Chick October, which, what a great name. Like, if you're named October, you're guaranteed to be a spooky person.
Yeah.
And her nasty, horrible brother, Finn, who nobody would want to spend time with. And then you've got Hutch, who's like normal, except he's so afraid of fire he can't even be around like a friend lighting a cigarette.
Right.
And then you've got Swink, who wears his plastic visor upside down and sideways, so you know he's quirky, I guess.
You know he's an idiot.
And then you've got the manic pixie dream girl coming in from out of town and
taking pictures at a funeral, which is a totally normal thing to fucking do.
Yeah, taking pictures of strangers. It's like you've got October being the cool girl and Abigail being the sort of, she's not manic, but she is definitely a pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
And so we have all the different women tropes that we need in this movie.
All both of them.
Yes, all two. And it's an interesting band of friends. As like many slashers of the 90s and 2000s, you're like, why do you guys hang out?
Well, I would submit that in gaming culture, especially now, maybe not so much then, but like you pretty much randomly just met people online.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if this group were not already like didn't already know each other, it would make more sense that they had met online and then became friends in real life, because that's what this group says to me, because they're all so different. They just have like a game in common, you know, that they all played together. So now they're pals. Yeah, that shit happens all the time in online gaming.
That's true.
But but it does also feel like they've known each other forever.
Yeah,
it reeks of Saved by the Bell to me. Like where you have the nerdiest kid in school is best friends with the preppiest kid in school, is best friends with the biggest jock in school, is dating like the political feminist who's best friends with the head cheerleader, who's also best friends with the most fashionable girl in school. And they all hang out together. Like no high school dynamic is like that. And I feel like that's kind of this group of friends, but you're also kind of ticking off these kind of mid-2000s movie archetypes. Like you need the cool girl, you need the manic pixie, you need the normal guy, you need the perv, you need the weirdo. Like we're just ticking the boxes so that we've got, you know, our horror movie archetypes, but we can't make any of them too compelling because then we're not going to want to see these kids die.
We can't make any of them not white. That's
certainly not.
That's an issue.
What are you, insane?
In 2006? Yeah.
Look, we can make the cop
South,
okay? Just take it, all right?
They're in Louisiana. What do you
I was like, this is 2006. We can't just get like one black guy,
right?
Come on,
we did. He's the cop, okay?
Oh yeah, okay, all right. I meant like as a friend group, you know?
Oh no,
yeah.
Oh,
the main characters. Yeah. No.
I mean, yeah, the big, it. Again, it reeks of that kind of mid-2000s horror thing where you were just like the whitest kids you know, but not the comedy group.
And Scream 2 was like, oh wait, maybe we should put some at least let a few black people die at the beginning.
Right. Let them be the first ones killed off because it's a slasher movie.
Oh man,
God,
that's
God,
fun. I love it.
Oh,
this racism is killing me inside.
Oh,
I love it.
It's the worst. God, yeah, this and yeah, but this movie is very indicative of its time and its place in that regard. Is it right? No, fuck no. But is it what the
But
we're
it
doing?
is 2006, and it is a time capsule. I also like that it tries to invent spooky rules that we all just agree we know, even though they're bullshit.
Yeah.
So the undead can't cross the twig of a wild rose. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. But October says it like it's like, yes, as we all know.
With such conviction.
Yeah.
As is well known by all.
Right. And so
Common
it's just
knowledge.
like, that's the only way to survive in the game. And we all just accept that we knew that, even though we did not.
That's so convenient.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, has she read about this game? No, this game's a brand new game that none of them have ever heard before.
Right. It's not even new. It hasn't even been released yet.
Right.
It's a virgin game, they call it.
Yeah.
My God.
Virgin Interactive.
Yes.
That's what I thought of. But like, oh, so Virgin is distributing this? That's crazy. Cool.
Were they in video games in 2006? It's wild. Also, is it me or is Loomis just like the most used name in horror films? Like just the most homaged name in horror?
Romero, Carpenter, Craven are up there as well.
Carpenter is in there a lot, yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like, Loomis is a character name. Like, that's a character from Psycho that gets used in Halloween, gets used in Scream, gets used here. And there are probably several other instances of it being used that I'm not aware of. But, like...
Also, what's up with Loomis's living situation? Like, he walks in on a couple that I guess he rooms with. They're having sex. The man has a pig mask on.
Very Saw-esque.
Yeah, they just stop having sex to talk to him and like chide him a little bit, and he just leaves. I'm like, what is with this?
I don't remember that part.
That's the beginning of the movie, dude.
I remember Milo. Oh, I was eating though, and it was really good. So maybe I got lost.
Oh,
in
that
what I
might
was
be
eating.
that might be it.
Yeah,
What were you
it
eating?
was really good. Look, okay, so I've been good for 2 weeks. So today I got some Burger King. I got an Impossible Whopper and some mozzarella fries, and it was so fulfilling. And I may have gotten lost in that, just the
I
pleasure of
understand.
consuming it.
Yeah, I
That
understand.
happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you've been good for so long.
Sure.
For so long.
Are you vegetarian?
I am.
Oh, well, right on. I'm vegan. What's up?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Anyway.
I eat whatever will fit down my gullet.
And that's
There you
cool
go,
too.
Right on. And that is cool too.
Yeah, whatevs.
Yeah, because it's personal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
feel free to cut this.
Now
I don't know what you do.
now that everyone knows all of our dietary preferences.
Invite us to your homes for dinner. Don't do that.
Yes.
we probably won't come.
No.
If you want a challenge.
The other thing I like about this movie, okay, so sidebar, 2 things that are always true in movies. Number 1, if a woman pukes, she's pregnant.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, if a woman has to pee, it leads to some horrible tragedy. Women should hold their bladders and not pee because everybody gets murdered. This is a movie where a woman has to pee and nothing bad comes of it.
That's
And I
amazing.
love that.
You know, you're so right about the woman puking and she's pregnant. It's like
Always, every time.
it's like parallel to the if you cough blood into a tissue, you're gonna die.
You're gonna die, yeah.
Yes.
And I gotta let you guys know there have been a few times in my life that I've maybe coughed up a little blood and I'm fine.
I've puked a lot and not been pregnant.
And you have not been pregnant. How
There you
wild
go.
is that, right?
Yeah. Movie magic.
It's a shorthand because filmmakers on some level are inherently lazy, and so we have those shorthands kind of built in
Of
so that
course.
we know.
And
But
that's okay.
they
we can
become
have
the
those.
tropes though, right?
Yes.
Like, and we can call those out. Like, that's what Scream does. It calls
Right.
out the tropes while reveling in and celebrating and even subverting them.
Mhm.
Well, and I
Like-
don't necessarily think a trope is a bad thing.
Right,
If
me
it's
either.
done well, if it's done, it's like I was just talking earlier about Hot Fuzz. That's all that movie is tropes.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
do it in such a unique way that it's fresh again,
Mhm.
and it works
Yeah.
better and better every time.
That is a contender for an Easter egg heavy movie that I don't mind. Usually Easter egg heavy movies, I'm kind of like, oh, like, who is this for?
Well,
Like-
it's a difference between if they're going, hey, look at this. Remember this? Look
Yeah.
at that.
Hey guys,
Look at
hey
that.
guys, look,
Right.
look.
Or if they're just like, we're going to work this into the movie in a way that makes sense. And if you get it, that's cool. And if you don't, it doesn't hurt anything. Like, huge difference.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, they might. It's the difference between what I was doing before and then just kind of like nodding your head in a certain direction and winking
Yeah.
at someone. You know what I mean?
Wink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you see that?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who cares?
Right. And I feel like the Cornetto trilogy in particular does that very well, whereas other,
Mhm.
like, say, Legacy sequels tend to not do that as well.
Right.
Yo, even Hot Fuzz. I was actually watching a video about it last night after I finished watching it, and they were talking about certain shots from so many different movies. Edgar Wright, like, he is the best plagiarist out there. And I don't mean plagiarist in a bad way, because every artist rips off another artist. There's
Good artists
nothing-
borrow, great artists steal.
Yes, and the way that he shoots this movie and the films and the shots that he's pulling from, he's not just pulling themes and references and dialogue. He is pulling a lot of actual shots from not only like action movies and stuff, but other kind of films as well, horror films. Like, I might send you a link to that video, you guys, because it was really interesting. If you're
I'm
fans
down.
of the Hot
Yeah,
Fuzz,
for
I'll
sure.
watch
because
it,
I
yeah.
didn't realize it was that deep, and I love it when it goes that deep. Fucking love it.
Right on.
And transition.
Yeah, again, don't mind tropes at all. Think tropes can be fun if used well, but I mean, there's a reason that shorthand exists, and it's because it's tried and true.
And people
But
get it.
but it can also be a crutch for a lazy filmmaker, which
Agreed.
is maybe not the best use of it in that instance. I will say the director of this film, his follow-up to this was a little movie called The Devil Inside. Does not make another movie for 6 years. Does The Devil Inside, does Where, W-E-R, in 2013. And then he directs the entirety of The Boy franchise.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like The Boy. I think The Boy is legit fun. I haven't seen
Hey.
Brahms' The Boy 2. I've heard it's
Let's
not
hear
as
it for
good.
the boy. Let's hear it for the
That's-
boy. Let's give
give
the boy a
let's give
chance.
The Boy a hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like The
I'm
Boy.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is. I've heard about it, but I don't know what it is.
It's a movie.
Do I?
It's a movie with there's like
Don't
a
be so sure.
doll, and like, is the doll alive or not? Or are the parents of the doll crazy?
This girl's like
Good.
supposed to be a caretaker for this son of this family, and they're like,
the son is a doll,
the
or
son
is
a doll, or is it?
It's very good. It's a lot of fun. The Boy is
Should
a
I
lot of
see
fun.
it?
I've heard
Would
the
I
second
like
one
it?
is not good.
I
I
haven't seen the
respect
second
it.
one.
I'll watch it one day.
And then he also directed Orphan First Kill.
Which I've heard good things about, but I have not seen. But pretty much
same.
everybody said that was fun.
Yeah, that was a big. I think Mike saw Orphan First Kill and was like, "Well, we're doing Orphan." Like,
Yeah.
put it on the schedule for Pod and
Yeah.
Pendulum. So yeah,
I never got around to seeing the sequel, but I did like the original.
Me too. Yeah.
I probably should watch that. I totally fucking forgot about that, actually.
yeah, that was
on my
like
list
in
for a while.
that weird like early 2022. It was like that and Mithrigan like came out and were kind
I
of
liked
like
Megan. I can't wait for
Yeah.
the sequel, actually. That was a fun movie. That was a good PG-13 horror movie. Like, wow. They really they made it like a legitimate horror film, and it was PG-13.
I haven't seen it.
Fantastic.
neither have I.
You should, and you should see both versions too, because the PG-13 version is worth watching because of how it's still just as fucked up and scary as the unrated version. But then watch the unrated version for all the gore and shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Twist my arm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, oh yeah, you're gonna get Ari to watch something with gore and shit. Come on, who
Come
do you think
on.
you're talking to?
Look, Megan is what the Chucky remake should have been. Sorry, the Child's Play remake should have been.
Ooh, okay.
Which I didn't dislike that movie either, but I think Megan did the same thing, just leagues better.
See our episode on the Pod and the Pendulum on the Child's Play remake.
Yes.
Which I thought was
That
fine.
it was basically a joint venture between the Disenfranchised Podcast and the Pod and the Pendulum.
That's funny because I wasn't there.
It's because that was before you came on board.
Okay, well that's cool. Whatever. No.
You know, we did have a life before you came along, Tucker.
Wow.
No. Look, you guys, I am the main character. Okay,
Oh,
life
I
starts
forgot.
and ends with when I come into your life. There's
Then
nothing
what the
before that.
fuck am I doing here?
I don't know. Like, you're like Ryan Reynolds in that NPC movie he did. What's that fucking called? Free Guy? Yeah, there you go.
Fall Guy?
No, Fall
that's
Guy's Ryan
different.
Gosling.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
a
mixed
different
up my
Ryan.
Ryans.
It's okay. They're both dreamy Canadians. You're forgiven.
Different meta commentaries on different entertainment sources.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
but similar. I guess.
Speaking of meta commentaries, Stay Alive?
Yes. So I think it executes the slasher formula really well through, like, it is a fresh take. You know, this part of the problem near the end is they have to physically go to where the horrors took place at this plantation, but it's also just sort of like a regular house in their town. And so they're trying to kill this character that they can't see. So they have one person playing the game to sort of describe like where to go and what to look for. But then you've just got like homeboy with a hammer and a nail, like hammering into random shit, trying to kill Elizabeth Bathory. It's actually like pretty good tension because you've got Abigail being swarmed by like these demon undead children. That's actually pretty scary. And like someone has to come take her out of there. So you've got this, you know, they're being killed by things they can't see. They have to try to kill something they can't see. And she's pretty good at staying alive, Miss Bathory. So,
Right.
you know, she's not easy to kill. So I do think it's like, it's a very solid slasher. It executes the formula. It is very 2000s. You got to be there for all the nonsense of the 2000s.
Which is not
But
everyone's cup of tea.
and that's fine, yeah. And then it gives you this sort of little stinger twist at the end where you think they've killed her, everything's going to be fine, but then it like cuts to a video game store later and Stay Alive's the hottest game of the year, so like they couldn't stop her in time.
Right. And I think
You-
that's where the sequel would come in, though. I mean, that's your backdoor into a sequel. But this
Could
movie,
be.
spoilers, didn't do
I
well
feel
enough to
like-
get one.
I feel like it would have that would be a much bigger budget on that sequel. But before I expand upon that, Ari, you were saying that there's some really scary stuff in this film, and I think that's what makes it work so well for me is because it can somehow be so dumb to
Mhm.
where you're
Yeah.
like, what even the fuck? But
Yeah.
still, when scary shit happens, you're like, oh, I kind of feel like there's stakes. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I feel like there's
yeah.
stakes, but there are somehow.
Yep.
It's a really weird movie, and that's why I love it.
I care about the characters more than you would think. Like Finn is an absolute
don't
piece
deserve
of shit.
it. None of them deserve it.
But his death, like Finn's death, like really gets me, and it's pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's on, you know, they're kind of doing the Final Destination thing where you see shots of different characters, and you're like, which one of them's gonna die? And Finn hasn't died in the game, so you think he's safe. But then, like, he crashes his car and he's waiting for his ride to come, and it's just like a race against the clock. Like, can he make it until someone comes to get him? But he gets killed first. And so, like, I really somehow, even with the absolute worst piece of shit character, I'm like, man, I didn't want him to die.
Well, I think that's the power of Jimmi Simpson, if I can be
might
really
be.
honest.
Yeah.
Like, we do stand Jimmi Simpson. In my absolute favorite David Lynch film, Zodiac, he's fucking good, man. I like
Is that
Jimmi Simpson.
David Fincher?
I think you meant
Fincher, yes.
Yeah, Fincher.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
You
did
said
that.
Lynch.
I'd
watch David Lynch.
I was gonna
version of
say,
Zodiac. I'd watch
that
the fuck
would
out
be
of that.
fucking
Different.
A. Yes. Yes, I did mean Fincher. Sorry.
Okay.
But no, like
David
he's
Lynch's Zodiac.
is it? Don't tempt me with a good time. No, Jimmi Simpson is just such an unbelievable performer.
Yes.
I love everything I see him in, even in like tiny roles where he just like Zodiac, where he just kind of pops in at the end of the movie just to throw in some gravitas. His first movie is Amy Heckerling's Loser. Like, just
I
God.
forgot about that movie.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
But I watched it.
The one
Like
with Vander
I know
with
it.
with
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Jason
this
Biggs.
one.
Yeah.
Jason Biggs. Yeah, I saw it at the movie theater, and I was kind of obsessed with it for about 6 months.
Yeah, that's
came
about
out.
the right amount of
Yeah.
time for that movie.
He's also
Yeah.
in future episodes of this podcast, Debs and Herbie Fully Loaded, both movies that we can cover on this podcast. But like, yeah, he just shows up and shit, and he's always really good. He's really good at playing just a creepy guy, just like a
Yes.
really weird, skeevy, pervy dude. Which
Yeah.
is why he's so great as the McPoyle bro on It's Always Sunny. Actually, I think went to school with Charlie Day, which is why
They used to
Oh,
live
okay.
together,
stuff
dingus.
together. Do what?
They used to live together.
Oh, well,
They were
there you go.
roommates
Oh,
for a really
shit.
long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're like best buds for real in real life.
So yeah, they do a lot of stuff together, and yeah, every time I see Jimmi Simpson, it's something I'm like, he's one of those guys where I feel like if he shows up, I can just kind of rest for a little bit because I know I'm in good hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
but
matter the genre, too. Like,
yeah,
Mhm.
which is why I
nail
said
it.
earlier, like he feels like the kind of guy who should have been in a Saw movie because he just like
Yeah.
he's got the look of someone who got his body split from end to end in a Saw movie or ripped in half or something.
Yeah.
It's an interesting take. That's how
Ari
Steven
just-
sees people. He's like, now, could this person be split in half in a Saw movie or not? There are two
That's
kinds of people in this world, Steven.
that's a face that Jigsaw would rip apart. I
Oh,
mean,
Yeah.
that's the face. That's a face that belongs in a reverse bear trap, if you ask me.
He's like a medical insurance salesman. That's why he's
Oh,
mad at
man.
him.
I'm not.
He works for like
That is
he
not what I
works
do
for
for a
like
living.
the Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I do not.
No, but William
not
Easton
you.
in Saw does.
I was thinking Jimmy Simpson in the Saw movies is what I was saying.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. That works. That works. Anything else we have to say on Stay Alive?
It's just so much fun. I mean, it's a slasher, so unless we sort of recap it beat for beat, there's not a lot to talk about. Like, and then this person dies, and this person dies, and then they overcome the killer. But watching it is such popcorn fun. Like, if you
And
haven't seen it, give yourself a treat.
it's so unique. There's not
Yeah.
it does play with a lot of tropes, but there's not really anything like it, for better or for worse, and sometimes for worse. But I do appreciate something. I think that's why I keep going back to it, because
Yeah.
whenever I think of Pulse, there's nothing else I could watch except Pulse.
Mhm.
Some movies you think of a certain
Mhm.
movie and you're like, oh, I like that other movie that's kind of like it. I think I'm gonna watch that
Mhm.
instead.
Mhm.
But Pulse is just Pulse. It's its own thing. And it kind of exists in this weird little spot by itself. And it's not good. It's not great, but damn it.
Do you
It's a
mean
fun
Stay
time.
Alive?
Yes. Yes. I
Okay.
did. Every single
Okay.
time.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and edit it, and it'll be like, Stay Alive. It'll be very obvious. Very obvious.
Yeah. I was like, Pulse is legitimately great, though.
Well, look, the reason I confuse those two, and I'm surprised it's taken me this long to confuse them, is because they had very similar marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Like very
No,
visually
that's fair
very
enough.
similar, like the kind of images they were using and the fonts and stuff.
Yes. Yes, that is true. I need to watch the remake of Pulse so that I can
And
have
both
that
of its
perspective.
sequels.
Yes, I suppose.
I can't even believe there's sequels. Now I have to watch them.
Okay, well, we'll do it.
All right. Well, Stay Alive comes into theaters on March 24th in the year of our Lord 2006. It opens at number 3 at the box office.
That's fair.
It opens to $10.7 million. With a production budget of 20, it goes on to earn 23.1 domestic, another 4.5 international, for a grand worldwide total of $27.6 million. It opens opposite the number 1 movie in America this week, a legitimately great movie from one of America's great directors, Spike Lee's Inside Man.
Oh yeah, that one's all right.
That one, oh, dude.
That's on the latter half of my Spike Lee list, but I still like it.
I think that movie rips. I love it.
It's really good. I'm just saying, there's about 7 other movies he's done that are better.
In number 2, the second week of a movie I saw in theaters because I loved the comic, V for Vendetta.
Oh yeah, I never saw that because like by the time I got around to seeing it, like it became like a thing that like bad people reference, like people who don't get it, like the people who go get the tattoos from American History X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who misinterpret films, you know? And so I never it just turned me off to the whole thing.
I was very nervous going to see that movie because I had read a review on, someone had posted about it on Facebook and said something like the ending was so powerful, all those V's, and I was like, oh shit, all those V's? There's only one V in the comics. What the fuck is this movie gonna do?
What do you think Alan Moore felt about it?
Oh, he hated it.
That was a joke. It was a joke because he hates everything.
He hates everything. Yeah, he's a cranky old
everything man. And everyone, which is really rad sometimes.
I mean, if you've read some of his later League of Extraordinary Gentlemen work, he pretty much rips apart Harry Potter and the whole notion of modern franchise filmmaking, and it's great. I love it. It's so fun. In a very cranky old man Alan Moore kind of way. In third place, we have Stay Alive. In fourth place, we have Failure to Launch. What if a man couldn't launch? That was.
Yeah, what if he failed?
What if he failed to do it? Could also be an alternate title for this very podcast, Failure to Launch.
Maybe there's somebody out there that has a podcast called that.
similarly named there too.
Yeah.
We'll never know. But that's Matthew McConaughey during his like rom-com phase, right?
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
And then in fifth place, the remake of The Shaggy Dog with Tim Allen and Academy Award winner Robert Downey Jr.
Not interested. No thanks.
Yeah, Danny
They
Glover
put the
in
human
that one.
eyes. They put the human eyes on the poster. No, fuck no.
They sure did.
That's upsetting. I saw that, but like,
is that a future
any
episode of this
interest-
podcast? Could we do that?
maybe any interest I may have had in that movie, which let me tell you, it was already zero. When I saw the human eyes on the dog, I noped the fuck out of ever wanting to see that movie.
I mean, do I blame you? I sure don't.
That's fucked up. I've had nightmares about that shit, man. I don't ever want to see that poster again.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna Google it.
Don't look.
I think you maybe should, Ari. It's
Just don't
but
look.
it's mildly
it's one of those
hellish.
things that it's
All
one of
right.
those things that's fine until I talk about it in that way, and then it ruins it for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
Yoko singing on the John Lennon Christmas song. People don't notice it until I point it out, and then they're like, "Oh fuck, you ruined the song for him." I'm like, "Yeah, well, welcome to my world, asshole."
Yeah, they sure did put human eyes on this dog.
Yep, they photoshopped Tim Allen's eyes on a shaggy
Oh.
dog.
Boy, howdy.
Can we stop talking about it, you guys? I'm gonna have nightmares about it tonight.
This is
just thinking
your
about it.
fault.
Yeah,
I know it's my fault. I'm
we didn't do this. You did this.
As we are friends, I'm requesting not to point fingers, but to maybe move on so that I don't have nightmares.
All right, move
All
on.
right.
I'm not.
So
I'm not saying it's not my fault. Please continue.
So after the human-eyed shaggy dog, we have in sixth place.
Motherfucker.
I had to. We have She's the Man, the Amanda Bynes retelling of that Shakespeare play. Seventh place, opening new this week, Larry Cable Guy, Health Inspector.
Oh,
One of those, this
that couldn't have
guy
gone
has...
direct to DVD.
No, apparently not. One of those, this guy has this job kind of movies. In
Guy
eighth
with a
place...
job movie. Yeah.
In
That's a
eighth
genre.
place, it totally is. A movie that
Guy
I'm
with a
sure
job.
Ari really loves, the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, in eighth place.
You specifically asked Ari, so please tell us what you think of it.
Yes, it's a Millennial Nasty.
Tucker,
What do you
what
think
do
about
you
that
think
sequel, though?
about it?
How you feel about that sequel? That sequel's fun as hell, isn't it?
The sequel's
Say it.
pretty fun.
It's a
The sequel's
completely
pretty fun.
different tone, but boy, it works
Yes.
so well. It's so silly.
Yes.
And I love
Alexander Aja did both of those, right?
Did he do both of them?
Did he do the
I think he
sequel?
only did the first. I think he only did the first one, but I could be
Yeah, I
wrong.
don't think he did the sequel.
I may have hopped timelines in the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure.
I mean, you guys might be right. I'm just guessing. I'm just spitballing here.
It's
No, and I feel
impossible
like
to know.
when we find out who the director is, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, because he directed that other thing, and that's why I was interested in it. So let's find out.
I'm trying to load. My computer's going real slow right now. I don't know why.
That's right. I got you.
In ninth place, we have Walt Disney film Eight Below. In 10th place, the Richard Donner film 16 Blocks. That's what late Dickie Donner movie.
Oh, and that was Mos Def and Bruce Willis.
And I think David Morse is in that as well.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Bruce Willis and Mos Def. And boy, those guys, look, it's not a good movie. In fact, that movie kind of sucks. Low key kind of sucks. But they have the most unexpected and fantastic chemistry. It's kind of a 48 hours kind of thing, sort of, where like Mos Def is a convict and Bruce Willis is a cop, and he has to take him 16 blocks to transfer him from one prison to another. But so many people are trying to kill him that, you know, it's a struggle. But like Mos Def's character in that movie is almost he's kind of a silly dude. Kind of a silly dude. And Bruce Willis is like super serious. So it's kind of like that 48 hours thing without the racism.
There you go.
Sort of. And it's not played for comedy the whole time like 48 hours.
Martin Weiss is the director of The Hills Have Eyes 2.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
is
I
not
wasn't
Alexander
close.
Aja.
No.
The tomatometer score is a 10%. The critics,
That's just rude.
the critics
Bullshit.
consensus: a by-the-numbers teen horror flick, Stay Alive fails to exploit its premise for any real scares.
They had me in the first half. Then they lost.
The Metascore is a 24, generally unfavorable reviews from 17 critics. And Tucker, you want to take a shot at the Letterboxd score?
I would love to. I'm gonna say it is, knowing Letterboxd, it's a 2.6 from 2.6 to 3.0.
2.3.
Fuck a duck.
No,
God,
thank you.
Gosh fucking darn it, Steven. I almost actually swore there. Did you hear that?
I did.
Oof. I gotta cut that out.
Tucker, cut all this out. So yeah, that is not critically not beloved. But Ari, out of 5 stars, how are you ranking 2006's Stay Alive?
I give it 3.5 out of 5 upside down sideways visors.
Love it. The only way to rate this movie, really.
Yes.
Tucker, what about yourself?
Look, it's like I said before several times this podcast, it is not a good movie, but damn it if I don't have a good time pretty much the entire time. I'm having a good time, whether it's because of how bad it is, or whether because of how surprisingly effective it can be at some points, or whether I'm just dunking on these idiots who have never played a video game. It's a great time from start to finish. That's a 3 from me.
All right.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I'm going, as much as I want to rank it a little higher, it's a 1.5 for me.
That's fair.
Not one I particularly liked. I've seen better, I've seen worse, but that's kind of where I end up landing on this one. I go 1.5. Don't know that I'll revisit it, but you know what? I'm glad we were here to talk about it, because Ariel Powers-Schaub, it means that I get another chance to talk with you, which is something I always enjoy doing. And so for that, very much worth it.
You're
Ari,
too kind.
I am not. Thank you so much for joining us. It is always a pleasure to have you on. When can we expect to see Millennial Nasties? And what else have you got coming up or on the horizon? What else are you working on? Let us know. Plug away, please.
Yeah. So you can pre-order my book about certain 2000s horror movies. Stay Alive is not covered in there, but lots of other ones are. It's called Millennial Nasties, and you can pre-order it from encyclopocalypse.com. It's available. It'll be out September 17th. And if you're outside the United States, you can get a physical copy. You just have to scroll down a little bit on the page. You'll see the international shipping options. Other than that, if you follow me on socials, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Ari_Hellraiser, and I'm on Bluesky at Ari Hellraiser, no underscore. I will link to all my writing and podcasting there. I have a project coming up that, again, this is a scoop for you guys. I haven't announced this yet. But starting this fall, I will be hosting coverage of the I Spit on Your Grave franchise for the Pod and the Pendulum Patreon.
Hell yeah.
Yes. So that'll be coming soon. Got lots of good guests lining up for that. I'm very excited to give those movies the attention they deserve. So if you're not already, check out the Pod and the Pendulum Patreon and watch for my coverage of those nasty, nasty films coming this month. But if you follow me on socials, I'll link to all my stuff, so you can find me there.
Right on. And you know what? If you're also on the Pod and the Pendulum Patreon, you'll also get to hear, I think Mike's going to put it up, my dramatic reading of Harry Knowles' Blade 2 review for A.
Well, there you go. You got to do it.
One of the most disgusting things I've ever read aloud, but yeah.
Okay, I'm excited.
But yeah, and check out their Blade 2 coverage on Pod and the Pendulum right now. Devon and Mike are doing a lot of great work over there, so definitely check that out. But we are the Disenfranchised Podcast. You can find us wherever podcasts are sold. In fact, where you're listening to us right now, that's a good place. Like, in fact, while you're there, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and review, please, and thank you. Particularly if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that goes a very long way to helping us find new listeners. And hey, if you do, if you leave us a review, we'll read all 5-star reviews on the air. So please, please, please do that for us. And while you're on the internet, if you want to support us further, you can head on over to the aforementioned patreon.com/disenfranchpod. and not only join the official conversation of the Disenfranchised podcast, join Tucker, Ari, and myself, because we're all there. But you could also, if you're feeling a little generous, throw $5 a month our way and just unlock the doors, the floodgates to all that wonderful, wonderful content, including our unenfranchised episode, apparently our first of many on the Rage Carry 2.
And it's going to be an annual thing. That was our first
apparently-
annual Rage Carry 2 episode.
Not a
of
thing I
Unenfranchised.
knew at the time, not a thing I would have agreed to at the time.
Well,
But what do you do? This podcast is no longer mine. It belongs to the world.
Yes, it's on mic. It has to be true. So it
and-
is spoken, so it shall be.
So shall it be done. I am your host, Stephen Fox. Oh, you can find the podcast. Sorry, Disenfranchised at DisenfranchPod on Bluesky, not on Twitter. Instagram,
Oh, fuck that
Letterboxd, Facebook, and YouTube. You can find us in all of those places at DisenfrancPod. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy. You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and it's Instagram, Letterboxd, and Bluesky at Chewy Walrus. Brett Wright, I think, can sometimes occasionally be found at sus_warlock on Letterboxd. Tucker, where can we find you should we be so inclined?
Hey, it's me, Tucker. I'm on Instagram at ice909 and also YouTube at ice909. You have to forgive me kind of going slow. Steven shook something in front of the camera, and I thought he was trying to tell me something. And I was trying
He
to
was
figure
waiting.
out what
You
he
said
was trying
hi.
to tell me. Okay. I had done that like 5 minutes ago, though. Anyway, that's
Oh, no.
ICE.
My fan was blowing a Band-Aid wrapper.
Band-Aid, yeah. I was like, what does this mean? Is he telling me to, put a Band-Aid on my mouth and maybe not talk so much? Or
If
I didn't
only
know-
that would work.
If only it would. Oh, I did get some real good cloth Band-Aids, though, so it might. Get a couple of them on there. Ice909, that's ICENINE, the number 0 and the number 9 on both YouTube and what's that thing called? Instagram. Also on the Instagrams, of course, you got the Tuck Mugs. Tuck Mugs is where it's at. Ari is a guest, has been a guest mug. It was with the logo from the Thing on it. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Not the Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, but I'm saying the Thing because I can't remember what the
It was
thing
Ghouls
called.
Magazine.
Yeah, there you
Ghost
go.
Magazine.
Yeah. Very cool. Everybody should do a guest mug. Not
It's
only
true.
just guests on this podcast, but like people. Look, fans of the podcast have done guest mugs. Members of my family have done guest mugs.
Also true.
Friends that I haven't spoken to in 10 years, I've convinced to do guest mugs.
Also true.
Just because there's an allure to just like a wholesome, positive community. Just talking about mugs. We're just rapping. We're just in there rapping about mugs. It's not a big deal. No big whoop. There's no gatekeeping. Like, who's going to gatekeep a motherfucking mug? Not this guy. I'll tell you that much. It's just a positive experience. Everybody's having a good time. Tuck Mugs. That's Tuck_mugs. Send me your what you call it? What's that called? Guest mugs. But also my social media manager. It's crazy because on the last episode, I had said that I would have a new post out by the time that episode dropped. And he got it in. He got it in right under the wire. And I got to say, it was impressive. It was good. It was good. It almost felt like a promo for each other. Like they were promoting each other, the podcast and there was synergy there.
That's
Just
what we
when
call
it dropped,
synergy. Yeah,
when it
corporate
dropped
synergy.
and how it dropped. And it's a big one, you guys. Like this one's one that I have been holding off on. This is one of my main mugs. It's a big deal. It's got a cool story, man. I'm just saying.
It does. I want a mug like that someday.
My roommate put coffee in this mug today, and she left for work, and I said, bitch, you better bring that back, or I will kill
Call
you.
your roommate a bitch.
Yeah, why not?
That's rude.
We have a special relationship to where I can say that, and she's not offended.
All right, I guess.
Okay, well, in the future, I'll consider calling her something else for your sake, Ari.
You know what?
I'll be like,
It's-
Listen, the only reason I'm not calling you a bitch right now. That's what I'll say.
I made a
Spence.
promise to a friend, and so
I made a promise. I'm trying to be better. Try to be better.
I thought you were saying that to Ari for a second. I was like, "Whoa, dude!"
Maybe a little bit.
Oh.
We don't have it like that.
No,
Tucker.
I do be trying to be better as a person though, like all the time, for real. So like,
Despite any evidence to the contrary.
Can I show you guys a mug right now?
Oh
Look, if
my
you guys-
God, I love that.
Oh, are you gonna guest bug with that?
Sure, if you want me
You
to.
absolutely should.
Okay, then I won't describe it.
I was going to say,
And
we're
you
not
just
going to
have
describe it. Oh my God, that's amazing.
You just have to watch Tuck Mugs on Instagram to see what we are all reacting to.
Subscribe
Oh, fuck, that's
to the
unbelievable.
Tuck Mugs. That's
It's a good
Tuck
one, yeah.
_mugs.
Very good, yeah.
Where we're always learning and growing as human beings.
That's what Tuck Mugs is all about.
That's what it's all about.
That and
The power
calling
of
women
mug.
bitches.
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes when it's funny, yeah.
Not all the time, just when it's funny.
Only when it's appropriate for the bit, man. Come on.
Okay, sure. Yep.
I'm not just like going up to random women and being like, "Hey, bitch." No, man.
No, I feel like you're protesting a little too much.
No, it's it's always a struggle with me, but eventually I get there. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, I'll get there eventually. It's gonna be a struggle.
Tucker, you're doing great.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
try. I do.
Yeah, you're doing great.
As long as you don't stop trying, because I if this is what you look like trying, I would hate to see when you stop.
All we can do is try.
That's it.
Boy, if you knew how I was raised, like, you'd be surprised how progressive I am. That's all I'm saying.
I told you earlier that I was trash, right?
We're all from the Midwest. I think we all get it.
Oh boy.
But yeah, are you done, Tucker? Or you got more to say on Tuck Mugs?
I was just gonna go over here and just like sit down while I'm quietly canceled by everyone.
Here's the thing: I can
sit
never
down and take it in.
Man overreacts to being called out. Man's feelings hurt because he can't call a woman a bitch. News at 11.
Sorry, don't explain the bit. It's not funny if you explain it. Come on. Jeez Louise.
Oh man, we have God. I love this.
Man
podcast.
questioned once, can't handle himself.
Oh man.
Look at Tuck Mugs, you chuckle fucks. Tuck Mugs is great. Leave Tucker alone.
Mugs.
Oh boy, am I privileged.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up.
Let's do it. All right, this has been another rousing, spirited episode of the Disenfranchised Podcast. Ari, as always, thank you so much for being here. You are a
thanks for having me.
And a delight. Oh, I forgot to mention, buy my book, Check In, Check Out. You can buy it on Amazon, ebook or physical copy. I have your physical copy, Tucker. It's coming, I promise. I even signed it.
That's funny, Steven, because I did buy your book. That's crazy. I did buy it, but I still haven't gotten it. That's wild.
It's coming. I'm gonna get it.
Look, here's the thing. I'm on I've just finished chapter 3 of the Brian Wilson autobiography that I'm reading. And I gotta tell you, dude, if your book doesn't get here by the time I'm done with it, I'm gonna have to start that Dresden Files book instead.
You do what you gotta do.
I'm saying. I know I want to read your book next, Steven. Do it for me. Get it to me, man. Come on.
I didn't know you wrote a book, buddy. How did
Steven
I miss
wrote a book.
that?
Oh,
Because you don't listen to the podcast.
No, I've only mentioned it a handful of times. No, it's a comedy thriller about kind of a Hunger Games, but it's 20 somethings in a hotel.
What's it called?
Check In, Check Out.
You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah, it's written by my partner, past and future guest Mandy Gossage, and myself. Wrote that together.
And if you're a good enough friend of Steven's, you can send it to him and he'll sign it and then he'll send it back to you.
Yeah, we will definitely be doing that.
Hell yeah.
That's how you gauge your friendship level with Steven, is if he will sign it and send it to you. So
if
give it a try, viewers. Give it a try.
If I'll give you my home address, yeah.
This is awesome.
There you go.
I didn't know this at all. Everybody buy Steven's book.
Aww.
Also worth mentioning, not Steven's first book.
What?
It was a short story that I released called Henry Jacobs
About
and the
boogers.
3 Nasty Nose Pickers. Yeah.
It's about boogers.
That one's only available on e-reader, but yeah.
Okay, well, let me pop this on the old wish list.
Hell yeah.
And get a hold of that.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, that's all we got for today. For our very special guest, Mrs. Ariel Powers-Schaub, and for Tucker and the absent Brett Wright, I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy. Until next time.
Whether you're a mother or whether you're a brother, you're staying alive.